What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It is the Lowdown. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking everything out. Please click the like and subscribe button. That helps us out. The notification button will let you know anytime any one of these videos gets posted. And as I pointed out, since this is technically Monday, I'm recording Sunday, and I've said this numerous times, I record earlier than I think probably everybody here. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. I just get mine in early because of my schedule, and they've got to get them all edited and put out. And obviously the live shows are great because on those days I can come out and literally tell you what I'm on. And when we go through the slate, I don't hide anything. I mean, if you guys are watching any live show I'm on, I talk about the games I'm on. I don't tell you they're premium plays for me, but I talk about everything that I like, that I don't like, things like that. A couple other things that just kind of point out. So today is my surgery day. Technically, when you guys are watching this, I will be back in the morning to post, and I do this every day with the weather algorithm that I run. I can only run it on the day of. So when I run it, I post the results from it. Every once in a while, there is something that's conflicting from the results of the algorithm to maybe what I said. There are times, weird times. It's happened, I think, 3 times this year since we've been doing it, and I started doing this in the middle of June, where we're talking about a game and the weather algorithm likes the opposite side of what I'm seeing. And sometimes that's just going to happen, like different hitting situations. Sometimes you're looking at a game and things historically have gone differently. The one that I pointed out that was the really unusual one was the Mets game that we just had, where I love the under, weather algorithm loved the over, winds blowing in. I can't explain why, but in games like that, similar games like that, games have gone over more times than not. So the way it worked out was I popped one in the morning, said, hey, I'm not on the under anymore. The over looks good. I trust the weather algorithm, because it wasn't just like leaning like okay. It looked like it was a great play, and that's why I went in and changed everything. But regardless, it was 4-3 with the bases loaded in the 9th, which means if you won, you were lucky. If you lost, maybe you were unlucky. And if it would have went the other way, same thing. Like you can handicap a game as best you can, and sometimes it just comes down to whether or not they execute with runners in scoring position or how long somebody leaves a pitcher in. Now, for some of the other stuff, people have said, well, why don't you post the spreads and all the things? Like, this is way before any of that stuff's come out, and baseball is different than football. So during football season, we will have spreads up. I'll talk about the games. I mean, I'm going to talk about a lot. And hopefully I'm not up here pontificating too much, because I mean, there's going to be a lot of games to talk about. College football, we'll obviously talk about things that are coming up on that day. So, like, if I'm recording on a Wednesday for a Thursday and there's 3 college football games, I'll be talking about those games, or at least the ones I like, and maybe where I'm leaning. And when I say lean, don't expect that to just be a bet, because I don't like messing with people's money. Like, leans for me are, yeah, I like this, but when I do all my plays and I kind of map everything out, and you guys can't see, like, it's all handwritten. I do this every day. Look at all these sheets. This is weather results, prop plays. I mean, my wife's got to hate me by now with all these damn things all over the house. But as far as that goes, yeah, we'll have a lot of stuff that's down. But with the algorithms and everything that I use, like day of, it makes it easier to kind of tell you what's going on. Baseball's tricky. So is basketball with some of the spreads. And full disclosure, I don't know how many guys will admit it or talk about how they do things. I love seeing where the money goes. It means a lot to me and how I bet. I've been a contrarian my whole life. Well, I've been a contrarian since I learned how to lose consistently just betting favorites and overs when I first started this thing, and then kind of tweaked how I've done things over the years. And being a contrarian just doesn't mean saying, hey, everybody's on this side, I'm taking that side. It's finding the right spots, because the public doesn't always lose. I think they lose more times than they win, but they don't always lose. So with all that being said, if you guys hit up any messages here, send anything, I'll try to respond. I try to go back in early and post everything that I'm seeing. And if anything changes, every once in a while we have a TBD, TBA, or whatever with a pitcher. And there are times where I'm trying to guess who it's going to be by looking at the timing of it. Yesterday was one of those days with, Eduardo Rodriguez pitching, and then the pitching matchup changed on the other side. So we shall see. Now, I'm recording this in the morning. The one thing I want to tell you guys, this could potentially be the last podcast. I am getting up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to do all my research, just like I would on a normal day, because that's kind of when I'm doing my radio show. I'm up at 4 a.m. and I'm at work shortly after 5, and I'm diving right into the slate, literally writing all this stuff down. So most of these papers you see are actually show sheets from my show. Like, these are my live reads that I have to do, commercials, the rundown of what we talk about so I mean, this is literally, I've done this by hand for so long, and I know some of you guys probably heard me talk about this, but it's just, I'm a little bit more old-fashioned when it comes to that, but I do absolutely care where the money's going, and I like to look at line movements too. So all that aside, as I've rambled for 5 minutes, and you guys probably don't want to hear me pontificate on any of that stuff, I can't wait for football season. I'm having a throat surgery today, so I'm going to try to record another podcast to get it posted for Tuesday morning, but that would be my last one for a while if I'm able to do that. So that's why clicking the notification button helps. Now, to get to the games, things have been really good for me. I've hit my weather play has gone 4-0-1 this week so far going into Sunday. Sunday, my weather play was the A's over. I liked, here, let me just tell you what I liked on Sunday. None of the games have started, guys, so I don't want you to think this is, me skirting the issue. Here we go. I did love, and I gave that out on Saturday, the Philly-Detroit under. Looked like a great spot with Charlie Morton. I liked him over strikeouts. 5.5, he was plus money. I also bet Joe Adell over 1.5 bases in the Angels game. He was plus money. And who was my other one that I had? I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, the other one that I had was another good spot that, here we go. Tigers, Phillies under, Chicago White Sox, LA Angels over. I just told you I like Joe Adell over 1.5 bases. Went back to the well with the Nats and the Brewers to go over. I've been on that Friday, Saturday. Both games went over. I'm back on it Sunday. It's another great hitting spot. Bullpens are taxed. Doesn't even matter if the Nats have a healthy bullpen. Their bullpen sucks, and they traded away some of the best pieces they had. Now, on to some other games. I did go back to the well with the Dodgers and Rays to go over. What a bitch that's been, man. It's one team hits and the other one doesn't. Or you just get one of these slow-ass games where nobody can hit with runners in scoring position. Rasmussen looked awesome, and I thought the Dodgers would be able to get to him a little bit. And conversely, I thought on the flip side we'd see Blake Snell get beat up a little bit. But I did call Yandy Diaz over 1.5 bases. I think he hit 2 homers yesterday or on Saturday. So some of the other plays that I had, I did go back to the well with the Cubs and Orioles under. I played that on Friday and Saturday. Actually, that was my weather play of the day, both days. Both days hit. And in the WNBA, man, I was so mad on Saturday because I had my WNBA total of the month. I was 3-0 on those. And I love the under in the Lynx game against Vegas. I thought Vegas was going to struggle and muck up the game and make it ugly. Yeah, I nailed that part of it. I just didn't expect the Lynx to drop 111 points and it to go over the total by 2 points. So I don't know if I handicapped that right. We lost, so it's technically wrong. I'm not a results-driven guy. It's like, did I call that right because I knew Vegas was going to struggle? And then some people would say, well, why didn't you bet the Lynx? I didn't want to bet road favorites like that, especially with the way the money was going. But I definitely thought it was going to be ugly. And we kind of got that game and most blowouts go under the total, believe it or not, because teams, even if you look at that game, fortunate to get where it was because there was a lot less scoring in the fourth quarter. But I also like the Seattle Storm on Sunday, but my favorite play Sunday was the Liberty and Sun to go over the total, and I even said I didn't want it to seem like I was chasing with another total of the month after losing my first one, but I like this play just as much as I like the other one, so I could have easily made it a total of the month, but I just made it a play of the day. And I think sometimes, the verbiage that you're using talking about things, I don't like to make things seem like it's a foregone conclusion. Like during football season, my top play is called my concrete lock, but it's just a play on my last name, the C-O-N-N. So, but it is my favorite play every week in the NFL season. There have been times I've thrown a concrete lock on for a college football play if there's something I really love. But I started this years ago, and the funniest thing about it was I had never had a losing season with my concrete locks up until 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years. Everything's kind of running together now. I'm not saying everyone's been like gangbuster winning, but I've had some amazing seasons. In fact, when I first got into radio, I'd been doing a show for about a year and a half, couple years maybe, and then I started doing my concrete lock of the week. Again, my favorite play in the NFL, and I would throw it out there. And then there was a point in time where I hit the first 10 of the season. I was 10-0. I got fired from a radio station, got picked up by another station. Anita Marks, if you've seen her on ESPN. I was doing a show with her. I actually met her playing flag football, and I hope she sees this. The first time I played against her, I picked her off and took it to the house. She was actually a QB in like the WNFL. But we became friendly. I ended up becoming her producer, got let go by one station. So as soon as I came over, everybody had been asking who the lock of the week was going to be. Who's the lock? Who's the lock? And I'm 10-0. And so I said, all right, I'm going to give it out to everyone. So I told them, take the Browns. They were getting like 3.5, and they lost 31-0. And so then, of course, everybody's like, you're an idiot. You're an ass. You don't know what you're doing. It comes with the territory, guys. But just kind of one of those funny things where it's like everybody's asking for it, and you can't wait to give it out. You're 10-0, and then that happens. So, but yeah, it's been very profitable for me, and I'll probably have a package for the year-long concrete locks. And what else? With football season, you're going to hear me talk about all the different plays that I like in college football and pro football. College has just been very, very good to me over the years, especially the bowl games. I mean, I'd put myself up against anybody in bowl games. Historically, I've done phenomenal in that. It's probably been my best thing I've done since getting into handicapping, is just how I read the bowl games. But let me get away from that. I'm patting myself on the back too much here. Let's get to the games here. Let's go quickly. Kansas City's at Boston, and I really did want to talk about this one. 80 degrees, winds blowing kind of like right to left. There's no help there. 5 to 6 miles an hour. You can check it in the morning of and see if the wind changes a little bit, but right now there's no major bump to that. I want to talk about the pitchers here because Bailey Falter, don't know when this happened. I kept saying I was waiting for the worm to kind of turn with him and him to kind of get beat up and that whip to go up. He's kept his whip relatively low. His ERA is in the 3s. It's one of the best under-the-radar trades I think we could have seen. I can't believe more people weren't kicking the tires on it because he's just looked good. And Bailey Falter's not a guy that gets you over the hump. He keeps you going, like keeps that rotation going. Because you see a lot of teams that trade for like 2s and 3s and even back end of the rotation guys, or maybe for a vet. But you need some stability there, and you want to keep your team as fresh as you possibly can and not have guys that are getting knocked out in the second and third inning and getting busted up. But Bailey Falter's been great, and Brian Bayo is starting to look like the Brian Bayo that I know he can be. I think he's a really good pitcher. I hate the Red Sox. I'd love to have Bayo on my team. I think he's just got great stuff. I'm going to give you an under here. Lean there with those two pitchers going. A lot of strikeouts in the Red Sox lineup. Conversely, Kansas City doesn't strike out a ton, but they are a lighter hitting team. We'll see what this looks like, but I would lean under. All right, let's go to the Blue Jays and the Rockies. And you guys have heard me talk about this. I don't like betting Coors. In fact, this year I've given Coors out as a play 4 times, and I'm 1-3 in the overs that I've given out there. I very rarely would give out an under at Coors. Conversely, I very rarely bet an over at Coors. I mean, with all these weeks, sometimes the spots are just too good and you can't pass it up. We'll see if this is going to be one of them. The wind is blowing out at about 12.5 miles an hour in Coors. It is 90 degrees there. It's Eric Lauer, softer tossing lefty, versus Tanner Gordon, who neither one of these guys are going to scare you. I love the righty power for the Rockies. The Blue Jays do not strike out. Conversely, Gordon doesn't strike anyone out. Do with that what you will, but a lot of these Blue Jay bats are going to look really, really good. I'm going to lean towards the over here. I mean, with the wind blowing out like that and the fact that it's 90 degrees, I don't know how much more of a bump you could get in Coors for the bats, and I would fully expect that this total – with that pitching lineup matchup here, that maybe it starts out at 11.5, 12. I think you might see it get north of 12, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Check the weather in the morning. I'll let you guys know what the algorithm's saying, but I can kind of already see what's going to happen with this in Coors. It's the algorithm I run for player props and for things like that is going to love all the bats in this game. It's going to hate both pitchers, and the weather algorithm is going to love this game. So I could have easily given this out as a free play. I just hate Coors because so many weird things happen there. I mean, I've had games where we've scored. I mean, we just saw the one with the Pirates where they scored 9 runs or something, 8 runs in the first inning, and then lost the game. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, the over looks really good in Coors today. Brewers at the Braves. This is another one that I wanted to bring up. Light rain, 67 degrees. Wind is in at about 7 miles an hour. I'm saying light rain. That's what they're listing. And I've said this before. If you take the rain forecast and it says 50% chance of rain, that means there's a 100% chance of rain for half of the area, for 50% of the area. So anytime you see it, 20% chance of rain, whatever they're telling you that area is, somebody's getting hit with rain. And this one has like 48% chance of rain. Now, it says light rain, so I don't know how strong it's going to be. I've talked about the Brave Stadium when it gets hot down there and it rains, the humidity picks up. It's 67 degrees, so I don't think that's something we necessarily have to worry about. Quinn Priester's looked really good this year. He's been solid. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I think they have a good one. And the Brewers have done this for years. Find good pitchers, get rid of them at the end. Here comes the new ones. Burns and Woodruff. Oh, here's Peralta. And then here now you got these guys. Burns is gone. Woodruff in the back end. Oh, here's Priester and here's Mizorowski. So some interesting guys that kind of for them. But I would lean under in this matchup. If the weather changes at all and it looks like it's going to be hotter, maybe I'll have a different opinion. But I would lean under in this. Now, the one game that I do know I'm going to be on, and I want to see the numbers, obviously. That's the thing that matters most for this last spot. It's the Orioles at the Phillies. And if you guys have heard me talk about this, I live in Baltimore. I do radio in Baltimore. You're going to hear me talk a ton about the Orioles because it is the team I know best, but I follow everyone, minor leagues, everything. And the thing with the Orioles this year is they have been so bad against left-handed pitching, and now they get Jesus Luzardo and the Phillies, who have a bunch of lefties. I don't know how many they'll see in the series. It's something I'll kind of peek at tomorrow. But with that, it's 85 degrees. The wind is blowing out slightly, just a couple miles an hour again. Not a great help, but it's always a bump if it's blowing out, no matter how small. And this is all right. So Cade Povich is back from the IL, a young pitcher that the Orioles got in the deal with the Twins years ago. His strikeout numbers were great this year. And I mentioned Luzardo. The Orioles have made left-handed pitchers look like Sandy Koufax and Randy Johnson in their prime. It got better. What series was that? I think the Angels, they beat up two lefties, Kikuchi and Anderson, and they went from being the worst team in the league against left-handed pitching to being like the second or third worst team. They're awful against it. They just made Matt Boyd look like a superstar, and Boyd's good. But if you watch what they did in Colorado until Gunnar hits this 3-run homer or Colorado and Chicago, Gunnar hits a 3-run homer late and they hold on to win that game. But yeah, the offense has been dreadful. I think the under here looks amazing. And let me tell you some stuff about Cade Povich. His ERA at home, 6.81. 6.81 ERA. His ERA on the road, 3.10. He's left-handed. That helps nullify some of the power in that lineup with Schwarber and Harper. And when I say nullified, does it mean they can't hit they won't hit any home runs? No, but again, you'd prefer the lefty-lefty matchup. It does make it more difficult. There's a handful of guys in this league that just, like Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez, the two that were in the Astros lineup, they crushed left-handed pitching. It didn't matter who they were facing. But that's a handful of guys in this league that you're going to look at and say, I don't mind the matchup lefty-righty. But with this, I just think it's going to be a benefit on both sides. So I love the under here. And I think it's going to be a great play. So I'm going to be on it. You guys can do with that what you will. It will be my free play. I'll come back in the morning, post the results of the weather algorithm. I'm going to be out of it. I'm hoping I'm going to have my premium plays will be up on Monday, today. My premium plays for Tuesday are the ones that are up in the air. I'm being kept overnight. I am taking my laptop. I'll have my phone, so I can do that stuff from there if I'm going to put plays in. But there's no plays on Tuesday until 6:40, so it might give me a little bit more time. My plays might be out later than I want, just depending on pain management, what I'm allowed to do, what I can do. I just have no idea how I'm going to feel after this sleep apnea surgery. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching this. I'm hoping there's one more for you if I have enough time in the morning to get it done. I don't want to rush anything or put out any bad information. But I think we'd be all right just throwing something together in the morning. I'm going to try to do that. If not, maybe I'll pop in some of the chats on the morning show when the guys are there and let you guys know what the weather's saying for that day and maybe some things I'm on. But appreciate everybody watching. I'll be back. Couple weeks maybe. You might see me tomorrow. We'll play it by ear. Thanks, guys.